tricks, just a treat in the form of a playoff berth.
Do what's right at the right time, the right way.
The Lions have come back to life and can get one step closer to the postseason with a win against the struggling Riders. But they'll have to do it at home, which has been a scary place this season. Riders, Lions on this Halloween edition of the CFL on TSN. Oh, Schultzy, it's scary in here. I love the pumpkins you've done.
Thank you.
Took you all day.
All day.
You and Milt.
Yep.
In early, carving things up. That's Maddie and the smoke machine.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome. Credit to our crew, our director, Don Lannis, our producer, Jamie Rydell. Happy Halloween, Canada, wherever you are. Hopefully, you're getting ready to go trick-or-treating, or maybe on the East, you're already doing that, and in that case, you're not watching right now, so let's just get on with it. Yeah, you know what was scary? The BC Lions were scary for the first half of the season. They were really struggling, but they've been out on the edge, as Don Matthews likes to say. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. They're kind of comfortable with it. And now the edge is here in that if they do not win, they're out of the playoff running. They got a huge game against Saskatchewan today, and they got to get it done. It's simple as that.
They have to get it done, and because of that, I'll be really interested in their play calling throughout the football game. Are they going to stick to the basics, run the football, protect the football, pass and catch, or are they going to do something creative and maybe run some reverses, a throwback to a quarterback? I think they have to take chances. They have not had success against the Roughriders, and if they're going to win this football game, they have to do something unusual in terms of play calling.
Schultz, I totally disagree with you. Do you know the last 3 games opposing offense have attempted more runs than passes against the Saskatchewan defense? If I'm the BC Lions, I'm going to line up my 3 running backs, Robinson, Davis, and Messam, and stuff it down these Roughriders' mouth until they can stop the run. If not, it could be a long evening for these Roughriders. I'm not going to do any trick plays to start off. We have 3 great running backs. The Roughriders can't stop the rush. Let's run the ball and see what happens.
Different teams second half of the season, Dave, like you said, in the first half, they've gone 5-3 since Labor Day. And it certainly could have been 7-1 if they had won those 2 overtime games back-to-back. This football team is one that is morphing before our eyes. Travis Lulay is the 3rd starting quarterback to face the Saskatchewan Roughriders this year. First it was Printers, then it was Jackson. There's 23 of the 46 people on the roster in their first or second year. So a young football team that is coming together late. I really think they can make some noise, and I think they're going to make it happen today by doing what you asked them to do, Milt, is run the football. I think that's the key to success. I think Travis Lulay, you can throw his legs in the mix there, and I think that'll be too much for the Riders today. Saskatchewan
is 2-0 against BC. They beat them in those 2 meetings by a combined score of 74-31. With Edmonton winning last night against Winnipeg, they have the upper hand on the BC Lions for the last remaining ticket to the playoff dance. It's must-win time for the BC Lions. They're taking on the Riders on this Halloween version of the CFL on TSN.
Thank you, David. Happy Halloween from Empire in Vancouver, where the team wearing orange faces a must-win to prolong BC's playoff hopes against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The sun has broken through on a sensational Sunday afternoon at Empire, what could be the final game at this temporary facility.
Travis Lulay is just 2-5 as a starter for the BC Lions, but improving every game out and coming off a win versus Calgary, where he completed 65% of his passes. The other side of the field, Darian Durant completing 54.7%, but leads the league in yardage and rushing yards for a quarterback. Look for a lot of run in this game this afternoon.
Riders know they'll be hosting the Western semifinal. Ken Miller trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. That's his longest as the Rider head coach. And Wally Buono's calling this BC's home playoff game. It has not been home field advantage here at Empire. In fact, they've won as many games at McMahon Stadium as they have here at their temporary home.
Well, we've said it many times about games during the regular season. We say it's like a must-win game. This game is very important. It's like a must-win game. This is a must-win game for the BC Lions.
Stu Ford, Ryan Grice Mullen, the former BC Lion, have dropped deep, and there's Paul McCallum ready to kick things off. Again, this is the third meeting of the year between these two teams, and Saskatchewan dominated here at Empire and has won both so far. Away we go. And it will be Grace Mullen. Up across the 30. And that's where he'll set things up for Darian Durant and the Saskatchewan Roughrider offense.
Take a look at the Saskatchewan Roughrider offense with Darian Durant. As I mentioned, leads the league in yardage thrown coming into this week of games. And Wes Cate probably prominent against the worst run defense in the league. Weston Dressler is back, missed last week. The loss versus the Edmonton Eskimos. And Gene Makowski, the veteran, 16 years playing left guard, leader in that O-line.
Working out of a double tight end formation, and Wes Cate straight ahead, and not much there. Corey Banks helping push him back. Cates starts the day 40 yards away from 1,000.
Defensively for the BC Lions, look up front. They get Aaron Hunt back in the middle of that defensive line on the 9-game injured list. There's Corey Banks, possibly their nominee for Defensive Player of the Year. Outstanding season for Corey Banks in the linebacking core, and David Highland back on that wide side corner for Davis Sanchez.
Starting lineups are brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona doing it right, flag down. Durant couldn't find anybody, and now dumps it off, and that's Getzlaff. Will be stopped short of the first down at the 45 as we get set to sort out the first penalty of the game.
I think the penalty is against the BC Lions. Looked like they jumped. I'm not sure if they were drawn.
Offside. BC number 24. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
That's Corey Banks called offside.
Yeah, Corey Banks was trying to sneak up here and come off the edge on a blitz on second down. He jumped in, and that also pulled his teammate Solomon Elamimian offside as well.
David Highland racing to the bench, so the corner is out, and it looks like Ryan Phillips will be occupying that spot. Durant pressure straight ahead, and Darian Durant runs across the 50 up to about the 53.
Clearly the strategy early on here for the BC Lions defensively is to send pressure, and they're going to get Corey Banks involved, the linebacker. This time he's on the opposite side, the short side of the field, and he's going to cause Darian Durant to pull this ball down because he comes off the edge, times his jump, is in the throwing lane, and Darian Durant has to take off and run.
Up at the 53-yard line, a first down, and a pass is complete. There's Andy Fantuz into Lion territory, cut down by Corey Banks at the BC 50. Fantuz with a couple catches last week after being blanked the week before.
Yeah, and we're going to see, I'm sure, a steady diet from both the running backs in these offenses. Wes Cates got off to a good start against the Edmonton Eskimos a week ago. He did have 90-plus yards rushing, but it was his first drive that was his biggest. BC Lions ranked last in the league against the run.
And they give it to Cate straight ahead, and he'll be brought down close to the first down yardage.
It's a bit of a skewed number in Mike Benavides' defense because they do rank last, but a couple weeks back against the Edmonton Eskimos in an overtime loss, they gave up well over 300 yards rushing in that game, really threw their stats right out of whack, and they ended up 8th. Without that game in there, they're probably middle of the pack. So not really as bad against the run as it looks, but we'll see a steady diet of both running backs here this afternoon.
Roughriders putting together some first downs here on their opening possession. And Durant throws the out. That's pulled down by Jason Claremont, the former BC Lion, with a catch.
Darian Durant talked about wanting to get his offense in sync again. It's an offense that in the 3-game losing streak, they just really haven't been. Andy Fantuz has been a guy that's disappeared. He gets jammed up, so they go to the outside there to Jason Claremont.
21 catches for Claremont, 2 shy of last year's season total. on second and short. And again inside Keats, and he gets upended right about the line of scrimmage. That's going to force third down.
Tad Crawford snuck up from the safety spot, and he comes right down into the line, times it up pretty well, and comes on the blitz from the left of your screen. He's going to actually come on the blitz and then see the handoff, so he slides underneath and makes a tackle on Wes Cates.
So the field goal team comes on for Saskatchewan, and we're going to see Warren Keane for the first time as the Saskatchewan Roughrider place kicker. And Eddie Johnson will hold. Johnson handled duties last week, but he's had some lower back problems, and so he'll just handle the punting today. And a former #2 pick overall in the league, Warren Keane, is going to miss his first. And it's short too, and it'll be brought out. And it's a good return for Giannis Davis, all the way up to the 35-yard line. Roughriders come up empty on their first possession. The BC Lions go to work on offense after Warren Keane misses a 46-yarder. Travis Lulay, his 5th consecutive start. And they'll throw the screen, and Jamal Robertson's got it. 10 catches last week against the Calgary Stampeders, and that's a 6-yard pickup for Robertson.
Jamal Robertson closing in on a 1,000-yard season, and against this Saskatchewan Roughrider defense that has had its challenges against the run, we will see a lot of Jamal Robertson. G-Roy Simon, 1,000-yard season again, his 8th. And Angus Reid, the question is this Angus Reid's last home game as a BC Lion? Contemplating retirement.
2nd and 4. Hand off, Robertson straight ahead. And still fighting, but driven back. And let's see where forward progress is. He had to get to beyond the 44-yard line.
He's close, so they're going to probably have to bring in the change to take a look at this.
Seventh in league rushing, and as you mentioned, trying to hit that 1,000-yard mark. 131 away starting this game.
Well, it's no secret where the Saskatchewan defense has had its challenges, and that's in their run defense. And when they're giving up 138 yards a game this season, and more in the last 5. And the question, I guess, here in BC is, will Wally Buono and Jacques Chapdelaine be patient with the running game throughout this game this afternoon to see if the Saskatchewan Roughriders will stop it? That's how close they are here, and I think this is a 3rd down gamble by Wally Buono.
About the length of the football, so big Jarius Jackson will check in.
These have not been guaranteed for the BC Lions the last couple of years.
And it wasn't guaranteed yesterday
when
we watched Winnipeg and Edmonton at Commonwealth. Jackson, who started the last game for the Lions against the Roughriders in Saskatchewan. And he'll push ahead and actually get beyond the 45 for a BC Lion first down.
You know, when it comes to run defense, the Saskatchewan Roughriders need to get a good game from the interior of that defensive line, and that means Marcus Adams. That's where it starts there. Chunky Adams in the middle. Get a good push and try and take up some blocks. Then it goes to Barron Simpson. He's the run stopper, the linebacker in the middle that will scrape side to side. 100 tackles on the season. And if they get past those two, James Patrick led the team in tackles last week with 7.
Double tight end.
3 receivers out and a quick hitter to Paris Jackson, who is driven back by the corner, the veteran, Omar Morgan.
Take a look at their last 5 games, Saskatchewan Roughriders defensively against the run. The Hamilton Ticats, DeAndre Cobb, 167 as a team. The big one against Calgary. You add it all up, about 918 yards, about 183 yards per game in the last 5. They said they worked on it this week in practice. Put the pads back on.
Yeah. So 2nd and 3. Fake to Messam. On a roll. Montez Murphy in pursuit. Lule throws and it's complete for first down. He gets Stephen Black into Rough Rider territory.
Well, that's magic from Travis Lule as he tries to outrun Montez Murphy and then realizes it might be better for him to just kind of step up and do a little spin and come back. And I don't know how he so quickly recognized his receiver. Watch his spin here and going back to the inside. Spins back, recognizes the receiver's open, and Stephen Black and nails it.
And they go no huddle. Fake again to Messam, and this time not going anywhere. Sean Lucas, the will linebacker, chalks up the sack. That's his first of the year.
You know, they outnumbered the Saskatchewan defense outnumbered the right tackle and Joe McGrath. They got right here Montez Murphy, and there is Daniel Francis. Outnumbered to the outside, so one guy will be picked up, the other will not, as they try and turn around. Excuse me, Sean Lucas, not Daniel Francis. Sean Lucas coming off the edge.
So it's a loss of 4, 2nd and 14, right at midfield. Out of time, and he slipped as he delivered that. An awkward throwing motion for Travis Lule as he fell while delivering the football short of the intended target.
You know, he just slipped. You know, the power in your throw for a quarterback comes from your lower half, and when you step up and the torque from your midsection to flip your shoulders around and follow through, and you could see he just lost his footing there, and that ball bounces.
Was some rain this morning. Grace Mullen up to the 25. That's where the Rough Riders will have the football when we come back. Well, there's been plenty of concern in Rider Nation about this 3-game losing streak. Still the opportunity to improve on last year's 10-7-1 record. But they have to close out with back-to-back wins to do it. Darian Durant back to throw. Karan Williams in pursuit. And wide open Fantus. Andy Fantus kicks it outside across midfield. And now a late flag as he's brought down at the line, 49-yard line.
This is Darian Durant making it up as he goes along, because out of the get-go of the play, it didn't work out the way he wanted it to. He wanted to go play action, and I believe that Wes Cates lined up the wrong side, and then he just started to make it up.
The 11th play of over 30 yards for Fantus on the season.
Major foul, face mask. BC number 31. We'll go up 15 yards from the end of the play. First down.
Dante Marsh gets the call.
Well, still, first, watch how Darian Durant turns the wrong way, or Wes Cates is lined up on the wrong side. He turns to look for play action. That doesn't work. Now he's going to try and make it up. Karan Williams makes an inside move and loses contain. Andy Fantus flashes, opens up in behind all that pressure, and then they tack on more for the face mask.
So 51 yards after the penalty. Cates straight ahead, and he'll be dropped around the 31-yard line.
Good news, Chris, for Saskatchewan fans to see Andy Fantus involved in the offense early on. As a guy that's struggled over the last couple of games. Played against Brandon Browner a couple of games ago and was shut out, and then versus Edmonton, just 2 catches. So good news for Rider fans is Andy Fantus early on in this game involved in the passing offense.
Of course, Weston Dressler's back. That should make an impact on the entire receiving core. And here's Claremont with another catch. Brought down by Highland. And we'll check the spot at the 22-yard line. That's enough for a first down.
Good protection for Darian Durant there. He could wait for Jason Claremont to come all the way back to the football in this long curl. 2 backs in the backfield for Durant, so he's got good protection. That's called maximum protection. You keep your backs in there. You can see he's got time to just kind of shift to his left. And Jason Claremont had come right back on a deep curl.
Riders with a first down. 5 receivers out. Cates releases. Durant gets away and now dumps it off. Gary Koch. And he'll be tripped up inside the 10. Dante Marsh brings him down. Koch with 8 catches and a couple of late touchdowns last week in Edmonton.
You know, I know that Darian Durant in the last 3 games in losing streak has not played at the top of his game, except he looks like he is healthier now than he's been in the last 3 games. Remember, he had an ankle injury. He is really moving around well in that pocket, bouncing around, extending the play, opening his receivers up by movement.
Perfect start. First and goal. Durant looking for Dressler, and out of his reach, Corey Banks off the edge.
Durant was expecting Corey Banks to bite on the play fake. And when he doesn't bite, it means that the time that Darian Durant has to throw just gets cut basically in half. Corey Banks going to come here, and that play fake is where they're trying to influence any blitzer. So Saskatchewan hopes that Corey Banks will crash down here. He doesn't. Comes up the field. Now Durant has a split second to throw it. Can't get it there.
Jason Claremont back in as Chris Zarka goes to the sideline. Second and goal from the 7. And here comes the heat again into the end zone. And over the head of the intended target, Chris Getzlaff.
Well, Darian Durant knew he didn't have enough in to block. All the blitzers, they were lined up and they were coming for the BC Lions. You can just see the 5 in the middle, but there's a couple off the right edge, and they are coming as well quickly. And you can see Anthony Reddick to the left come. They're free. So it's just a matter of can he get the ball out of there. And Stanley Franks, who chanced to be the rookie nominee for the BC Lions, is in pretty good position.
So a 15-yard attempt for Warren Keane, who missed from 46. And this one's through. But a hold for the Lions defense. And the Riders lead by 3. We're back at Empire, and on the sidelines is Farhan Lalji.
Well, guys, the BC Lions have been much better on the road than they have at home, so they stayed in a hotel last night, the first time they've done that under Wally Buono. Now, they wouldn't be the first team to try that, but this came from the players. Geroy Simon and Jarius Jackson, 2 of the captains, went to Wally Buono, said we want to do this. The coaches weren't even at the hotel. The players ran the meetings. They did a bit of a curfew check, but for the most part, it was on the honor system, and the players thought it was a great idea. They said there were so many distractions that families were going through, especially with Halloween. Jackson said if we're going to go down, it's going to be without distractions.
There's Jamal Robertson. No word on whether they were wearing their Halloween outfits at the hotel.
No, man, and you know, I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's a chance to just get together as a group, no coaches, sort some things out, look at the game plan, look at the playbook, start to get on the same page. We talked about it last night in Edmonton, how the Edmonton Eskimos felt it was their Moncton experience that has brought them together. Similar thing could happen for the BC Lions.
Full for Robertson, so it's 2nd and 6. Here comes pressure off the edge. Lance Fraser couldn't come up with it. And Geroy Simon's got it. At the Roughrider 49-yard line, LaRon Mitchell the tackle. Geroy Simon the catch for 22 yards.
Travis Lulay with his excellent athletic ability and speed. He is going to be able to get outside of the blitz from Lance Fraser, who's clean off the edge, and he takes a inside angle. And, you know, watching Geroy Simon warm up today, I thought Geroy Simon is due for a big game. I mean, this is a good start for number 81 for the BC Lions, but he just looked like he had a real jump in his step in this warm-up.
Simon, Arsenault, and Black all with only 1 catch last week. A lot of time for Lulay. He drops it off underneath, and that's Rolly Lambala, the fullback, who is pushed out at about the 44-yard line. So 5 for Lambala.
I mentioned Travis Lulay improving each game out, completing 65% last week in the win versus the Calgary Stampeders. He's been pushing that 300-yard mark, very close to it in the last 2 games, 263 last week, protecting the football a little bit. Did have 2 interceptions, but over the last 3 games, it's been pretty good in that area.
And although this is his first start against Saskatchewan, played in a relief role and put up some decent numbers late in the game against the Roughriders in a loss here back in July. And Simon and missed him. As the pass was behind the target, who looked like he had an inside step on Tad Kornegay.
You know, and like we saw last night, Chris, you know, for young quarterbacks, it never changes. I mean, he has Geroy Simon here who gets inside position. I mean, that's a throw and catch that he should be able to make, and Travis Lulay knows it. That's the second series where a little bit of lack of consistency. You see a couple of spectacular plays, and then one that he misses, because that's Travis Lulay's fault right there.
Here's Paul McCallum looking for the corner. Off the side of his foot. It does get inside the 20. And just at that point, where the Roughriders will take over. Fourth consecutive year that the Saskatchewan Roughriders will have a home playoff date. Western semifinal at Mosaic, either against these BC Lions or the Edmonton Eskimos. There's Durant with Elimimian putting on some pressure, and Dressler the catch in front of Stanley Franks at the 28-yard line. And that's the final play of the opening quarter. Just one field goal to report. Roughriders with the lead. Our first quarter numbers are brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
Well, you know, coming into the game, we talked about the two defenses for these teams, how they rank 7 and 8 in run defense, and not a lot of rushing yards by either of these teams, just 14 for Saskatchewan, and the BC Lions under 10 yards rushing.
So we were emphasizing the running game, and apparently so were the defenses. Darian Durant looks sharp, even though they only have 3 points so far.
He looks finally healthy. I'm not sure how bad that ankle was, but it was obviously restricting his mobility a little bit. But in that pocket, he's extending plays by bouncing around a little bit, and that is opening up receivers as the BC Lions get caught trying to figure out whether they should come up and try and stop Durant from running or stay back and cover his receivers.
Second down, here comes Tad Crawford on the safety blitz, but the handoff straight ahead by Wes Cates, enough for a first down across the 30.
But you're right, these defenses did emphasize the run defense in practice this week. Both teams trying to fix that area. I mentioned the BC Lions numbers a little skewed because of that one game against the Edmonton Eskimos, and they do get Aaron Hunt back in the middle. That's important, and the veteran Brent Johnson knows the importance of stopping the run on first down as well.
Aaron Hunt back from the 9-game DL. He tore a pec muscle 11 weeks ago against Saskatchewan. Durant's pass, and that's off the fingertips of Stanley Franks, incomplete.
Stanley Franks has 3 interceptions. All of his interceptions versus the Calgary Stampeders this year. Likes to play that team. Gets his hands on this one, and if he has a chance to tip that up, Tad Crawford runs underneath the tip. Just off target to Fentus, who is bracing himself for Elimimian.
So 2nd and 10, and the Lions put their pass defense team in. 4 receivers wide side. That's where Durant's looking. Under pressure. Got at the ground, couldn't get him. And downfield it goes, gets loud. Couldn't make the catch. Looked like he was open.
Corey,
and a little slow to get up.
Corey Banks, Chris, recovers here. He was open. Getzlaff, it looked like after Durant scrambled, once again scrambling to buy some time and open up a receiver. Watch there, just steps in there, bounces it outside. He's not scrambling to run, he's scrambling to throw, but Corey Banks recovered just in time to break that one up.
So Eddie Johnson comes in. And Giannis Davis and Andrew Harris are deep. And this is Harris. Had a good return game. So did Davis last week. The Lions were impressive against Calgary with over 300 return yards. Well, it's a great day here at Empire, and the fans out in full Halloween costume.
Grizzly ghouls from every tomb closing in to seal your doom.
Very good. Got pumpkins and melons. And
guy on the right there looks a little bit like an orange Grinch.
And some we can't show you. Lions go to work after an illegal block. And here's Robertson strung out and brought down. Luke Mullender with the tackle.
And you nailed it on stringing that play out. That's the key to stopping Jamal Robertson there, because he's got his shoulder pads turned towards the sideline. Now he's just a matter of time before the pursuit gets him and runs him down. When you get a running back that's trying to find that hole and bob and weave, just keep him going laterally, you have a chance to corral him, and that's what the Saskatchewan Roughriders do on first down there.
Big win for the Roughriders defense in the first quarter, shutting out the Lions. They are the most scored upon team in the opening quarter this year, allowing 132 coming in. There's a pass on second down. Simon's got it. He's going to be short of the first down by a yard or so. Tad Cornegie there in coverage for the Roughriders. And on the spot, going to be about 3 yards short, so the punt team comes on.
Yeah, and you see Wally Buono right on the spot to double check that. Geroy Simon had to come back, and Tad Cornegie, who's been playing halfback, Mr. Versatility for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, makes a good, clean tackle on Geroy Simon. The Saskatchewan Roughriders get the ball back because of it.
Ryan Grice Mullen shielding his eyes from the sun here as he awaits the kick from McCallum. On the turf. Trying to get a no yards, but no flag, and now does some dancing and gets 5 of his own. 47-yard punt, 5 on the return. Well, if Darian Durant's haunted by anybody, it's Ryan Phillips, and with more, here again, Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, Chris, Durant might be looking to stay away from Phillips, who has owned him so far in his CFL career. 5 of Phillips' 24 interceptions have been by Phillips or have come against Durant. So they said that one of the reasons it happens is when the two of them talk before the game. Durant says every time he talks to Phillips before the game that he winds up throwing an interception to him. He tried to avoid Phillips before this game. Phillips had to chase him down to the other side of the field to talk to them this time.
Look out, Kerry Coke breaking downfield, and it's Ryan Phillips that has to drag him down from behind as Durant with Coke hook up on a big 40-yard gain.
You know, Kerry Coke really got his best opportunity last week to play when Weston Dressler was out of the lineup, and then a nice block right there by Chris Getzlaff. In a screen play to the wide receiver, you've got to get one block. It's the guy who's covering that receiver you got to get blocked. Getzlaff got that one, and Coke took advantage of it.
Do you have a quarterback you tried to get in the face-up before the game?
Matt Dunnigan. Never worked.
First down. Russ Cates, left side, has a hole. And is down to about the 33-yard line. 7 for Cates off the left side.
It is amazing, though, with Ryan Phillips playing not only against Darian Durant, but playing against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He has 24 career interceptions, Phillips, and 13 of them, over half, against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And of course, this year he has 3 interceptions, and again, against the Roughriders for 2 of them.
That apparent mosaic. 2nd and 3. Durant to throw, quickly gets it away, and Fantuz has the first down. Took a big hit from Elimimian. But another 2nd down conversion catch for Andy Fantuz. Number 3 in the league in that department.
Leading tackler for the BC Lions is Solomon Elimimian, who didn't start the season in the middle as a starter, but any receiver for Saskatchewan this afternoon trying to get inside is going to see 56.
9 games as the starting middle linebacker, 57 tackles, so on pace for over 100 as the man in the middle. But the Roughriders are marching again. Good protection. Durant throwing to the far side, and this one is intercepted. Out of bounds? No, it is. And it is Ryan Phillips. Unbelievable.
It's uncanny.
The haunted house that is Empire. And the number 1 ghost for Darian Durant is Ryan Phillips.
Ryan Phillips hustling in warm-up to get to talk to Darian Durant works again.
That is spooky.
It's amazing. That's the 9th interception Ryan Phillips has had in the last 2 years against Saskatchewan.
25th career interception. That's the 20th tossed by Durant on the season. Roughriders got into turnover trouble last week, giving up 5 in Edmonton. Flag down. Lule the pass, and it's dropped. Lambala let it hit the numbers and bounce away.
Boy, that interception you really have to put on Darian Durant. He had an open receiver on the play to Jason Claremont. I think this is going to be a procedure against the Lions.
Offside. BC number 81. That penalty's declined. Second down.
So it was G-Roy Simon who moved early.
Jason Claremont was open on that interception. Durant fading to his left, put it a little high. And Claremont went up to get it. He tips it up, and Ryan Phillips both feet in.
So 2nd and 10. Here comes the heat from Fraser. They look deep, looking for Arsenault, who's got it at midfield. Another big play for Emmanuel Arsenault, who came into this game 97 short of 1,000. He gets 38 right there.
Saskatchewan Roughriders putting everyone in the line of scrimmage, and Travis Lule delays his cadence so that he can take a look and get it up over the top to Arsenault. He knows how many people are on the line of scrimmage, and there's not enough back there to cover.
Second time we've seen this today. The Lions go no huddle. And from midfield, strike back to Arsenault. Brought down after a gain of 6 or 7.
You know, in a play like that, when Travis Lule, when he's trying to get the ball in his snap cadence, he'll wait. Now he knows that Arsenault just has to get to the middle, and he gets a nice inside move on James Patrick. Lule puts a lot of air under that ball, so now Arsenault just run to it.
They wanted to continue with this fire offense, but the Roughriders have an injured player on defense. Can't pick out the number across the field in front of the BC bench. And it's Daniel Francis, the Sam linebacker.
I showed you 8 Rider defenders on the line of scrimmage. And on that deep throw to Emmanuel Arsenault. That means just 4 left back in coverage. Straight man to man. And obviously the Lions want to make not only first downs, but big plays if the Riders ever put that many on the line.
Well, CFL on TSN action continues next week with Wendy's Friday Night Football as the Calgary Stampeders, their last tune-up before the Western Final, take on the Blue Bombers. Live coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Daniel Francis makes his way across the field to the Roughriders sidelines. A better spot than I gave Arsenault because they're marking it at the 46. A 9-yard gain for Emmanuel Arsenault on his second catch of this drive. Jarrell Freeman will check in on the Roughriders defense. Remember, Freeman had 3 sacks at Mosaic against the BC Lions.
Oh, he leads the team with 6 and missed a couple of games due to injury, but yeah, he had a big game right here as well against BC, and they beat the Lions twice this year.
So it's 2nd and a yard. 2 backs. And the second man through is Robertson, who gets driven back. And there is Jarrell Freeman on cue. Looked like forward progress should be enough for the first down, but Robertson got the yard and a bit of a headache after that hit.
Yeah, he did. He got his forward progress. I think he'll get the first down. They are moving the chains, but what a hit by Jarrell Freeman. After we pub him up, there he is right there. Barron Simpson, the other run stopper, and the linebackers. He's just going to flow into that hole, step up, and when Robertson hits it, Freeman's there to hit him.
At the Rough Rider 44, it's a BC first down. Short drop Lule, and now underneath, dumps it off. Robertson brought down, and Jarrell Freeman's there again. Again, Robertson with 10 catches last week of the 17 Travis Lule completions at McMahon.
Got a good rushing average too, Jamal Robertson, at 6.3 yards per carry coming in. We mentioned he's closing in on 1,000 yards rushing and is a valuable receiver. He's got good hands out of the backfield. Got rid of those fumble problems. He had some fumble problems earlier in the season.
Just 2 on that catch, so it's 2nd and 8. Stephen Black stayed in to help block, and they look deep for Simon. Jump ball! And incomplete.
Late flag back here right around Travis Lule. Great blitz pickup. First of all,
Montez Murphy looked like he was working against Joe McGrath.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Saskatchewan, number 91. 15 yards, first down.
And it is Montez Murphy.
well, let's first of all show you this block. This is the start of it, and that was Stephen Black, the receiver, who's going to step in. He makes a nice block to give Travis Lule time to at least throw the football here right there on Tad Cornegay, and then Murphy continues through after the fact, after the ball is thrown, and tackles him. Not a hard hit, but he took 2 steps after the ball was out of Lule's hands.
So that will prolong the drive. Now at the Roughrider 27. Lule a quick hitter. He's got Simon. And he twists inside the 20 and is close to another first down.
Inability to finish has been one of the issues for BC when they get down in this area of the field, especially at home. They've not been able to finish off drives, and they just can't afford it in a game that is so important for them. Again, they lose this football game. The Edmonton Eskimos are in the playoffs, and the BC Lions are out. So finishing drives crucial for them now.
They marked Simon short of the first down by about the length of the football, so the Lions essentially get a free play here. 2 backs, 3 receivers, and a fake to Robertson. Lule, look out! Montez Murphy brings him down. Trying to atone for the penalty with a sack that'll make it 3rd, and now 2 to 2.5.
And a play call that will be questioned. I think this will be one that probably the media and the fans in this city, depending on the outcome of this game, will go back to. They're inches away from a first down here, and you gotta try at times to go ahead and take some shots. So I don't necessarily think this is a bad call by Jacques Chapdelaine. You gotta show some imagination, go after it, try and play to win the football game.
But you can't take a sack.
No, you can't take a sack.
So Paul McCallum, who has been just about perfect all season, nails another, now 41 of 45 on the year. And with 4:37 remaining in the first half, Wally Buono's team has drawn even in a game that has as much first half scoring as yesterday's. Yeah. I didn't think we were going to get a replay of that.
No, let's change that if we can. But, I think it was Chris Schultz on the panel that talked about it before the game, that, the BC Lions are desperate. They've got to win this football game. Absolutely must win for them to stay in the playoff hunt. And in order to do that, they might have to pull out some stops, some fake field goals, some fake kicks possibly, and plays that you don't suspect, like on 2nd and inches, to try and go play action and try and go for the score. They didn't get it. It backfires, but, in a situation like this, you almost have to try and do some of those things.
Roughriders will start at their 35 with Keat straight ahead, and he runs into a wall and gets drilled.
Is that little Corey Banks? No, it wasn't. Adam Leonard, who was on the receiving end of a big hit last week against Nick Lewis and the Calgary Stampeders, but this time Adam Leonard is the hammer, not the nail. Boom! That's nice. So like that one.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Darian Durant needs 3 yards to hit 5,000 on the season. And he let it fall out of his hands, and somehow Anton McKenzie declined the gift.
Well, it surprised him. Completely surprised him, and his own teammates throw him to the ground.
And the former Rough Rider is going to take a beating for that.
A lot of movement from the BC Lion defensive line. There's Anton McKenzie. You can see Brent Johnson on the run, and Karan Williams to the left of that. He's on the run as well, trying to hit it and confuse Durant. Now, did Durant try and pull this down? I think he did. He was looking like he was going to throw, was halfway through the throwing motion, and then tried to bring it back and lost the handle. I think it surprised Anton McKenzie.
So Eddie Johnson comes in to kick. Giannis Davis awaits. Good boot by Johnson. Davis from his 22's got a crease.
Oh, he's got it.
Does he ever? Look out! Eddie Johnson will get him. And Giannis Davis is headed to the end zone. Second straight week, the Riders give up a punt return touchdown.
This guy is special. There are two dynamic returners, and you could probably put Marcus Sigpen as the third in the CFL right now that are getting fans up out of their seats. One is Chad Owens in Toronto, Marcus Sigpen in Hamilton, and the third is Giannis Davis here with the BC Lions. Every time he touches the football, good things happen for this team. And you give him a crease and he will take it. He is gone. Great speed, that change of direction, very similar to Chad Owens. Exciting player.
Second punt return touchdown, his third kick return. Major of the season, and that's the fourth against the Roughriders, which has been a sore spot. Giannis Davis gives the Lions the lead. Well, Giannis Davis sounded the 3-minute warning with that great return, and in 2 minutes and 57 seconds of playing time, GMC Sierra live at the half. We'll check in with the guys and get their take on what we've seen in the opening 30 minutes of what, for the most part, has been a defensive battle and a must-win for the Lions.
We got it, baby. 3-2. We got it.
We're going to do this. Let's go, fellas.
Time to get the playoffs now.
White cloth.
Boy, one of those special first-year players that the Lions have added this season. Ryan Grace Mullen, a former Lion, trying to answer. And he runs out of real estate as Anthony Reddick pushes him out at the 31.
All about cover lanes. I'm going to show you when they snap the football here, the Saskatchewan Roughriders get bunched up. Watch this. Okay, stop it there. Bunch of 4 receivers right there. Now they got to spread out and get into lanes here. Let's see if they do. Now they're coming down the field, and as they come down, watch this. Now you hold it there. There's still 3 or 4 players for the Riders right there. No one into their lanes to spread out. They get 2 bunched up on the cover team, and then now it only needs, the BC Lions need 1 block, and they get it right there to seal. Everybody else caught inside, and Giannis Davis is gone.
First down for Rent, and that's batted away by Corey Banks. What a break on that football. And the pass intended for Dressler is knocked down.
Go back one more to Giannis Davis return, and that's the issue in this play for the cover team for Saskatchewan. They get bunched up in the middle, and they never really fan out again. They never really get into their lanes again. And when you give Giannis Davis a crease, he needs just 1 block. He got it from James Urachuk, and that's his tremendous speed.
Second and 10 for the Riders, who had just 45 yards last week on second down. Durant's going to get dropped, shovels it, and Cates has it at the 36. He'll be short of the first down, but Durant makes a few when it looked like he was going to be sacked, and that's enough to get him over 5,000 yards.
First quarterback to do that since Kent Austin in 1993. Karan Williams is the guy who's going to provide the pressure. Darian Durant gets in trouble, a little stun up front, and there's Karan Williams. An underhand throw to Wes Cates to get him over 5,000.
And now Eddie Johnson back in to kick, and guess who's back? And it will be Davis again, this time from the 31. He'll try the other side. Got a little something over there. Not as much, but that'll get Travis Luley and the Lions great field position. A 19-yard return after the 43-yard punt.
1993, Kent Austin that year, 5,754 yards passing. I don't think that Darian Durant will get to that total, but over 5,000, the first quarterback to do it since the early 90s.
Not the time to savor it because of the events of the last minute or two, but a solid accomplishment on the season as Darian Durant goes over 5,000. Travis Lulay looking to extend the lead again. Labala, who has been a target for the third time in this first half.
You know, that's 2 punt returns in a row for Giannis Davis where he has not been tackled. In fact, he has not been touched. I mean, he ran out of room on the second one and went out of bounds, but he has provided the spark, and sometimes it comes from your special teams. Giannis Davis with a punt return touchdown, and then that one to set up this field position may lead to points as well as this half comes to an end.
2nd and 2 from the 52. And they swing it out. It'll be Simon, first down. And he'll be dragged down by Luke Mullender inside the 40.
You know, the Saskatchewan Roughriders love to bring people into the box and try and clog it up in there and come from different angles on defense. Look at how many Saskatchewan Roughrider defenders are in there. So what they want to do is get Geroy Simon outside of that and create a good angle for Simon. So they just get him outside of the outnumbered defenders in the middle and get him into some space.
4th catch of the first half for Geroy. He has 53 yards. And a BC first down, a bunch to the wide side. They look short side, wide open. Paris Jackson first catch, dropped the ball, but fortunately for him, he dropped it out of bounds. Tad Cornegay there for Saskatchewan.
Geroy Simon's going to open up Paris Jackson with his speed. He goes to that short side of the field. He's the deep receiver, and you can see how wide open Jackson is because of it. Tad Cornegay went with Simon.
First down on the catch by Jackson. Lulay steps up. He wants Arsenault in the end zone and overthrows him by a stride or two. Omar Morgan there in coverage for the Roughriders.
Travis Lulay, I mentioned in the last 3 games, 65% or better. This has been easy for me to say, has been his completion percentage, and he's right around 70 again. Trying to go deep there, was well protected.
And protection has been markedly improved for the Lions in recent weeks, hasn't it?
Night and day from the first half of the season, no question.
2nd and 10. And he looks for Jackson. Paris Jackson! Incomplete. Looked like he was going to make a spectacular one-handed grab.
Well, you can't say the BC Lions aren't trying to be aggressive and go after this football game. They gambled in this area of the field on a 2nd and inches to go play action, which didn't work. They took a sack. They go twice to the end zone in field goal range here. They did not get conservative, missed both, so they will have to kick the field goal, but they are playing offensively. They're playing aggressively. Going after it, and Paris Jackson almost came up with a one-hander.
So Paul McCallum on 34-yard field goal attempt. Looking to give the Lions a 10-point lead, and he does tuck it in. And it's 13-3. But Paul McCallum should never be in doubt this year.
It's amazing. In fact, he is closing in on a Lions mark for the best percentage, field goal percentage in BC Lion history. Lou Pasaglia holds the record now, and Paul McCallum is right around at 90.9% coming in. Last 7 straight, including these 2, is now 9 straight in the last 2.5 games for Paul McCallum. He has just been solid money all year. .45 seconds remaining in this first half.
And Durant throws the screen, and Wes Cates is not going to get away. There's Solomon Elimimian.
What a play. I mean, you know, this is a real difficult play for a middle linebacker to make, because he's got to fight through a bunch of offensive linemen that are coming out to try and block on the screen. Watch 56, likely the nominee for the BC Lions as Rookie of the Year, cuts inside of Mark Parenteau. He gets around Jeremy O'Day, slices through there, and comes up with a tackle on Wes Cates.
That's been a rebuilt Lions team this year. 22 first-year players, and Elimimian one of the best. And now a flag is thrown as
took too long.
Time count violation.
Timeout.
Well, they do call the timeout, so the flag's picked up. 18 seconds left on the clock.
Timer, please put 20 seconds on the game clock.
Well, they'll add 2 more. As Durant goes to the sidelines to talk about a second and long call.
You know, you got to like what Ken Miller's doing with this team. They come in here on a 3-game losing streak. They want to get that out of their system and get back on track. And they're not going to rest players. I mean, their playoff destiny is done. I mean, they know where they're going. They got to host the playoff game. They're hosting the semifinal. That can't change in the next 2 weeks. But all the starters out there, I wouldn't be surprised to see them out there all game.
So 2nd and 8, 5 receivers out. Now Cates out of the backfield. Durant under pressure. And Anton McKenzie dragging him down as Durant throws it away at the Saskatchewan bench.
Anton McKenzie does a nice job here of hanging on, but not the horse collar version. He goes down to the waist and grabs Darian Durant here by the jersey, but around the waist, not up high around the shoulder pads. If he gets up high, even if he gets jersey, it's a penalty. But watch how he goes high, and then he gets down right around the armpit area and pulls him down from there.
So 12 seconds left. And if the Lions can get another return, they might have time for a play in Paul McCallum field goal range. Let's see. Ball on the turf, Andrew Harris. And he's up to the 45, 3 seconds left, so not likely. Does Travis Lulay just throw it up or take a knee and take that 10-point lead to the locker room?
Well, you know, the one play you're worried about, of course, is if you're going deep, just trying to Hail Mary pass, you're hoping for a penalty. And then you get another play and possibly kick a field goal from the point of the infraction. But the downside of trying it is if you take a sack and you get a forced fumble, you can give up points going the other way, and they're just going to kneel down and
no question
take this lead.
They'll get the ball first in the second half. They've scored 13 consecutive points. The big one, the 88-yard punt return touchdown by Giannis Davis. Must win for the Lions, and they lead at the half.
On Halloween, the BC Lions are trying to avoid the scary situation of... Who is that? Is that you, Milt?
Brian Mucci. I didn't even know it was me.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Dave and Milt and Matt and Shelty. We get one more of those laughs?
No, I can't do it.
I'm telling you, it was muddy.
It is 13-3 for the BC Lions for the second straight week. The Saskatchewan Roughriders allow a punt return for a touchdown. They are having trouble covering kicks. In fact, they do not look very good at all. A team on a 3-game losing streak. Yes, they are playing the BC Lions, who need to win not only this week, but they got to get at least a point next week, depending on what Edmonton does. They do not have an offensive touchdown, Milt, but not for lack of trying. The Lions are being aggressive with Lulay at the controls.
Yeah, they're being very aggressive. They're allowing him to do what he does best, and that's move around. And something that can't be taught, you can't coach it, is quarterbacks making something out of nothing. And not only Lulay, but Darian Durant is also doing this. Travis Lulay is doing a great job when he drops back, making something out of nothing. You look right here, the blocking breaks down, he uses his legs and finds G. Simon for a great catch. On the other side, Darian Durant is doing the same thing. You know, like I said, this is something you can't coach. These guys have to know this. Find his receiver downfield, allows him to use his leg, Koch and make a great play also. This is something that they have to continue to do in the second half. One of these teams is going to have to explode and make some plays. Is it Darren Durant? If it's Travis Lulay, I don't know. But one of these teams make a decision and need to make some plays, Schultz.
Well, Mel, you know, one of the reasons that these quarterbacks have to make something out of nothing is I think both teams have done a great job of disguising their pressure packages until the last moment, except for one instance, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders got burned. First, here, watch Tad Crawford. He's the free safety. He's been criticized all year, but he's playing better football as a season. See how he kind of sneaks up at the last second there, comes back into the play, makes the tackle. Well timed. Now here, Sean Lucas, at the last moment, he's the guy that's coming off the edge. He makes the tackle here. At the last moment, the two defenders on the outside squeeze the quarterback, creates that urgency, overthrows the football. But on this one, look at the read that the quarterback, Travis Lulay, has. He knows what they're doing, but the receivers also know what's happening in the defensive front coverages. You know it's man-to-man right across the board, and all the receivers have to do is kind of make sure that they get to the most open area on the football field. Then Lulay doesn't have to make an accurate pass. He just has to make the deep pass. Receivers adjust. Way too. That one was. I could have read that. Wow. I could have read that.
That's some funny stuff, Schultz.
Well, okay.
I tell you, you know, Dave, you mentioned it. We talked about Saskatchewan's lack of coverage on special teams.
Yeah,
and
it's a problem right now.
You know, Giannis Davis, you know, probably didn't get any sleep last night because he was looking forward to going after him. And he certainly did. And he worked his magic in. You know, when you got a young quarterback, it's important to have other facets of your football team step up. We saw it last night. Jared Zabransky, you know, he got a little help from their special teams. And Calvin McCarty, fake punt, went for 37 yards and huge first down. Tonight, we see Giannis Davis help out his young quarterback with the instant touchdown. When this guy's been magic, and I'd like to see him stick around all season long, guys, because if we have, he may be giving one Chad Owens a run for his money for the special teams player here, because this guy is lighting it up. And he is scary on Halloween here, guys, making it happen in an instant. And, you know, if you look back, you know, earlier in the week, the guy that I talked about, Chad Owens from the Toronto Argonauts, he continues to shine. He is unbelievable. And you got another young quarterback as far as inexperience goes, and Chad Owens is picking him up time and time again. And his field goal against Winnipeg, he does his thing and takes his fourth back, which is just incredible. Now, I credit a lot of guys in the football field for making this happen. Just not Giannis Davis and Chad Owens, just not your Tim Mayprays and your Marcus Thigpens. There's a lot of guys down there running down on teams, carving, making blocks, doing things of that nature, making things happen. And I'm telling you, these guys have been special because we were talking about it. There's that one time we had Henry Gizmo Williams, pinball.
Well, Matty,
Clemens.
what you have here is you got two third-place teams. If BC gets in, they're going to be a third-place team. You got two major special teams weapons that can come up and bite one of the teams that they are supposed to lose to in the playoffs.
Change the game in an instant.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I want to ask you a quick question. BC, you know, fighting for their playoff lives. What is wrong with Saskatchewan? They are going downhill at the wrong time. Your thoughts?
They're just not, they just don't have playing with confidence right now. You lose 3 games in a row, and once you get down in the game and everything, you just start thinking, like, here we go again. I think that's what's happening to them right now.
There's so many aspects to the game that we don't see that, you know, happen outside the locker room. You know, families, relationships, things of that nature. And it really seems, I mean, this football team has lost focus, and they've got to get it back in a hurry.
Well, you were talking about this being, you know, not really a meaningful game for Saskatchewan. I don't know, man. I think they got to get it together. They got to taste a win either today or next week. Yeah, they got a playoff spot locked up, and the BC Lions are trying to lock one up or trying to stay in the playoff hunt on Halloween, and they got a 10-point lead at Empire Field. Welcome back. The Pepsi Refresh Project is giving away over $1 million to fund great ideas, and CFL players, they want in. Your votes have narrowed the original 8-player field down to 4, so help your favorite player win a $50,000 grant. Vote today at cfl.ca/Pepsi Refresh. And starting on Tuesday on tsn.ca, we are going to reveal the results of our first annual CFL player poll. Over 200 guys voted. All 8 teams are in. There's some great questions and revealing answers. That's coming up Tuesday on tsn.ca. Here are the halftime numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL. Neil?
Thanks, Dave. For the most part, it's been an evenly played game. The one thing that separates BC from Saskatchewan, Giannis Davis, 88-yard punt return. If they can keep that up, hey, they can keep it going. And the way things are going for Saskatchewan right now, they won't need to do much.
Here's Wally Bono speaking to Farhan Lalji.
Wally, when you've had success, it's been defense and special teams. It looks like a familiar formula here.
Well, it is, but the offense is moving. We're making some plays, and to have 13 points on the board right now, we're good. And, you know, obviously the second half's going to be big for us.
After you saw what happened last night in the Edmonton-Winnipeg, do you get the sense the players feel that urgency?
Well, they better feel their urgency. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be a long winter. But, you know, right now it's been a good, tough game. Saskatchewan's ready to play our team. Right now, I think it's got some confidence, and obviously that's going to be good in the second half.
Thanks, Wally.
Thank you.
And how about Ryan Phillips with 9 interceptions against Durant alone? Did you have one guy that haunted you, was spooky to you? One guy?
Not
DB?
one. Several.
A bunch of
I had a
guys.
bunch.
Okay.
I had a bunch, Dave.
Here's Brian Mutrick with his Halloween tie.
That's right.
That's right, with a Sports Center update.
And the poof just for Schultze as well.
Yeah.
You know, all Brett Favre wanted to be for Halloween on this day was a football player. This guy's had some trouble this season with the text messages, with the body, with the injuries. Well, he did start the Ironman streak alive. It's Percy Harvin there, his 10,000th pass attempt. The first quarterback to achieve that feat, though, but he's losing 21-10 there to New England. Jags Cowboys, David Garrard. He throws 4 touchdown passes. How about the Cowboys? 1-6 on the season. John Kitna, he threw 4 picks for Dallas in that loss. And the Buffalo Bills, they find another way to lose. They're now 0-7. They lose in overtime. 13-10 the final. They fall to the Chiefs in that one. A reminder, SportsCenter comes your way tonight at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's a great laugh. No NHL games today, but we do have the World Series continuing, and we'll have more from Dave and the guys after the break.
Welcome back to Empire. A 10-point lead for the Lions, and Ken Miller's with Farhan Lalji.
Coach, special teams has been a concern. You kicked to Jonas Davis. How do you approach him in the second half?
Well, we just have to make sure that we stay in our lanes, cover that thing, and then we need to do a good job with our directional punting.
First drive, it looked like Darian Durant was getting comfortable, was able to move the ball, then he kind of bogged down after that. What did you say to him at halftime?
Well, we just said to keep doing what he's doing. You know, the thing we need to do is buy him a little bit more time. He was doing well, and then they started to pressure. We have to do a better job with our protection.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, Darian Durant's a guy who has invited pressure. Thinks that's where the Riders can hit big plays, but over 5,000 yards on the season in the first half, but can't be really pleased with 3 points in that opening half of play.
You know, I thought he moved around in the pocket well. He looks healthy as he's been in the last 3 or 4 weeks as far as his ankle goes, and that mobility is back. But there were a couple of errant throws. One turned into an interception for Ryan Phillips, another one in his career against the Riders. That's 9 in the last 2 years against Durant, but that was a high throw to Jason Claremont.
Let's see what kind of adjustments the Roughriders make in the 3-game losing streak. They have 1 point in the third quarter combined in the 3 games. Bryce Mullen to get things going in the second half, up across the 35, tripped up by Josh Jesse.
First half numbers for the quarterback, 10 of 18 for Darian Durant, 139 yards, and the 1 interception. He didn't rush a lot, but he moved a lot, moving around in the pocket, buying some time, and pretty good half for Travis Lulay. Didn't find the end zone, tried a couple of times to go deep, did hit Emmanuel Arsenault once on a deep play.
Starting at the 36, put it in the hands of Kerry Cope, who's been the most dangerous receiver so far today for the Roughriders. He has a first down up across the 45.
It was on a play like that. He made a big gain in that first half with a little hitch screen that was well blocked. Chris Getzlaff got the key block on that one. They try it again to kickstart the offense in the second half, and not quite the same success, but do get a first down on him. And again, Chris Getzlaff with a nice block on Ryan Phillips.
Just a thought on Durant. Obviously, the Riders trying to get their game in order, but don't have to win. He is the 9th leading rusher in the league. Do you think they want to limit the number of times he carries the football?
You know, I don't know that they would have said that to him, but you got to think they don't want him to run too much.
They'll pitch it to Cates, trying to crease, and nothing there as Wes Cates maybe gets one.
You know, I think Ken Miller talking to Durant, as far as what I read in the newspapers this week and listening to some of the comments from Ken Miller about the running of Darian Durant in a game that doesn't change their position in the playoffs. And he said, you know, I don't want to tell him to change his game because that can really hamper a quarterback in a lot of other areas. But I do want him to be smart.
Wes Cates is now 16 away from 1,000 on the year, and the Roughriders 8 away from a first down. And Durant guns that in. He's got Fantuz. There's that second down converter for the Roughriders, Andy Fantuz.
And I think more than anything, Ken Miller would like to see Darian Durant get the passing game on track and to have him do a lot of this in this second half. Just take that shotgun snap, get into the rhythm of throwing the football on time to the right spot, and get Andy Fantuz and Weston Dressler back involved as 1 and 2 against, or 1 and 1A, basically, in this receiving corps.
Weston Dressler with just 1 catch in that first half. Stanley Franks shaken up on the play.
And Andy Fantuz has just doubled his catch totals over the last 2 games. Just 2 in the last 2 games. Being shut out 2 weeks ago against Calgary and then just 2 last week. He now has 4 catches.
Franks up and getting helped off. Career best year for Andy Fantuz, over 1,200 yards now. Top Canadian receiver.
Maybe the top Canadian award winner. Dave Stalo will be in that conversation. Hamilton Tiger Cats, but front runner right there for outstanding Canadian.
Roughriders with a first down, play action fake, and they want to go deep to Fantuz, and they just missed him by a step.
In between, he split both Tad Crawford and Ryan Phillips, who was on the outside shoulder, but had Darian Durant put a little more air under it. This is what I'm talking about with regards to timing and just throwing to the spot. Darian Durant had a chance for a big play here. Put this one a little too much on a rope. Fantuz couldn't get to it. If he put more air under it, Fantuz could run underneath that one.
Looks like Corey Banks has dropped back into Frank's spot, and Anthony Reddick takes over at the nickel in the Lions defense as the Roughriders look at 2nd and 10. And inside, Jason Claremont, and the ball popped loose. They're ruling him down at the 37, and that would be a first down for Saskatchewan.
All kinds of confusion with the changes in personnel as soon as the injury to Stanley Franks pushed Corey Banks back into the secondary. Solomon Elamimian right here is trying to figure out, once they go in motion, who does he have? There's Reddick. Now here comes Elamimian out to cover Wes Cates, and by that time they're not lined up in the position they want to be in, and Jason Claremont gets a catch because of it.
Moving the football back into the hands of Cates, and Karan Williams will toss him down at the 30. Close to 6 for Wes Cates, getting closer to that 1,000-yard mark.
By the way, Ryan Phillips against Darian Durant, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they've happened so quickly. I think I said he's had 14 of his 25 career interceptions against Saskatchewan. Actually 12 of his 25, so correct that. And in the last 2 years, 9 against Darian Durant, has 1 in that first half.
A lot of them to keep track of in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Tad Crawford shows safety blitz, and they give it to Cates, and Cates down to the 25, has another Rough Rider first down. Anton McKenzie brings him to the turf.
Saskatchewan starting to establish that line of scrimmage a little bit now. Wes Cates is getting a little bubble right at the point of attack, a little chance, about 2-3 yard bubble to hit. And if they can continue to do that, he's going to start reeling off 5-6 yard runs.
Reddick checks back in as Aaron Hunt heads to the sidelines. Wes Cates in a major drought for him. He's got 2 games without a touchdown. Here's Cope, that little hit screen. Kerry Cope, touchdown. Well, it's 3 in 2 games for Kerry Cope. And the Roughriders close the gap.
Guy covering Kerry Koch is Dante Marsh, the corner. So that's the guy Saskatchewan has to get blocked. And look at Andy Fantus. He just takes Dante Marsh out of it. Kerry Koch breaks off of that one. Ryan Phillips can't corral him. Touchdown, Saskatchewan.
Left tackle Joel Bell out to make sure Phillips wasn't going to be a factor. And the extra point is added. It's 13-10 BC. Uncover the world's largest and most vicious predators in our waters. No, not them, but River Monsters premieres Tuesday at 10 o'clock Eastern and Pacific on Discovery Channel. Got some monsters in the crowd today, and those Rough Rider fans encouraged by the opening drive of the second half. 7 plays, 74 yards. Kerry Koch into the end zone for his 3rd touchdown of the year. And the wind at the backs of the Rough Riders in this 3rd quarter, and that drove Giannis Davis all the way back to his goal line, and out he comes to the 24 before he's brought down.
Kerry Koch gets a couple blocks he needs, because here he is, the wide receiver. There's Andy Fantus. Now there's 2 guys that can tackle right here, and it's Dante Marsh or Ryan Phillips. So watch as Fantus gets one of them. He's going to go after the corner, and he gets Dante Marsh right there. Now the next one is coming from Bell. He's going to get Ryan Phillips, and Kerry Koch cuts right in off the back of his offensive lineman, and he is gone. Joel Bell with a big block, but none bigger than Andy Fantus.
Koch with 8 catches, 107 yards last week, and he has 89 yards and a touchdown today so far. Travis Lulay looked one way, and now he'll take off. And Lulay gets down at the 30-yard line and has 6.
You know, on that run, Jamal Robertson, the tailback, basically got a good, he could have bought a ticket for this play, because he could help here. I mean, he comes out of the backfield and he can go and try and find somebody to block. Instead, he kind of turns around and he watches Lulay and doesn't really help him. He's just kind of looking at him.
Yeah, we see the Lions go no huddle, and a pass for Simon is complete for a first down at the 36. And so that's 3-4 times already in this game we've seen the Lions go no huddle.
I think the one reason that they're doing that, Chris, is because with Saskatchewan's different looks on defense, and they are not allowing Saskatchewan to sort of settle in. They're trying to quick count them, get up on the line of scrimmage in a hurry, then restart them to see them declare.
And they do it again. 4-man rush, Saskatchewan dumped off to Robertson, and Barrett Simpson will check up another tackle. The league's leading tackler. Over 100 on the season.
You know, I've said this year, but I think it may be Barron Simpson's one of his best years of his career. I mean, and where do you rank Barron Simpson in the all-time linebackers? I mean,
2nd and 5. Lulay flushed and dropped. Jarrell Freeman upends Travis Lulay, and the Rough Riders will be happy that Jarrell Freeman's back in that defensive set.
Yeah, and he gets some help with a guy who's spying it, and it's going to be Barron Simpson, number 2, right in the middle of your screen. Jarrell Freeman's going to tackle him. Watch Simpson spy Travis Lulay. He's just waiting. If he goes wide, he stays wide. He's not blitzing him. He's just waiting for him, sitting right in there. Jarrell Freeman helps him as Barron Simpson gets there. I put Barron Simpson in the top 10 all-time in linebacker.
Approaching 900 career tackles. Bryce Mullen at his 24, and he gets hammered. Rolly Lumbala downfield in a hurry. Feels like a momentum shift here. Good opening drive to start the second half for the Rough Riders, and they've got the ball back. They've cut into the lead. It's now the Lions by 3. And Wes Cates, big hole, and Wes Cates goes over 1,000, tossed to the turf by Adam Leonard. Only the 4th Saskatchewan Rough Rider running back to ever have multi-1,000-yard seasons in green and white. George Reed, Darren Davis, and Ken Keith, the others.
It's funny because the last 3 or 4 weeks in Saskatchewan, I think lot of the fans there have thought that this running game has really fallen off, and yet Wes Cates has got his 1,000 yards, had over 90 last week.
First down, back into the hands of Cates, and this time nothing. Swarm there, and Jonathan Brown. Boy, when you look just the names on that front four with Aaron Hunt back, an all-star, Jonathan Brown, Brent Johnson, Karan Williams. A lot of young guys behind him, but that's a veteran, scary front four, isn't it?
No question they started playing better when Jonathan Brown got there, but Brent Johnson also moves in and starts with the injury situation that occurred and has started for the second half of the season. Hasn't missed a game or a practice in his career.
Second and we'll call it 11. Durant can't find anybody, and Aaron Hunt trying to find him. And Durant looks for Coe. Does he have the catch? No, they're ruling he was out. Would have been short of the first down.
Big Aaron Hunt tried to run him down. We'll take a look and see if Coke was out of bounds on the catch. One more quick look. He's got the ball secured now, and you can see the left foot first to come down halfway on that white stripe. I mentioned Brent Johnson for a defensive lineman. 10 years to not miss a game is absolutely remarkable.
Sure is. And one more sack, he'll have the Lion record, eclipsing Quick Parker's Lions mark. Giannis Davis contained that time. Our sack tally brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check.
Team eliminated from the playoffs actually leads this category. BC Lions with 41 and have strengthened their D-line with the return of Aaron Hunt. May be able to add to that total because of it.
Roughriders have the only 2 sacks today. Montez Murphy, Sean Lucas. And some early movement there, and flags fly all over the field.
That was Javon Olafioye, the left tackle, that moved with Jarrell Freeman lined up over top of him.
Procedure, BC number 63. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
The BC Lions have had 8 different lineups in their offensive line. It was an issue at the beginning of the year. They tried all 3 quarterbacks. All 3 quarterbacks struggled at the beginning when they went 1-7. And it was largely due to protection issues up front. They fixed that.
Lions 5-3 in their last 8. A couple of overtime losses, or they wouldn't be in such desperate straits. Paris Jackson nearly got away, but brought down close to the original line of scrimmage.
Geroy Simon, 8,000-yard seasons. This will be his 8th in his great 12-year career, 10 of them with the BC Lions. And the questions start to come up. If Geroy Simon can play another year and a half, 2 years, can he catch Milt Stegall? I think he can. I mean, 1,483 behind him.
Entered today's game 139 yards back of Terry Vaughn for 4th all-time. 2nd and 11, and down goes Travis Lulay as Barron Simpson gets to the quarterback. Was a flag down on the play. And as I look upfield, Geroy Simon was knocked down at about the 50-yard line.
BC number 66. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
Joe McGrath, the right tackle. Called, but it's a punting situation for the Lions.
Well, Geroy Simon was the intended target here. He wanted to work off of Emmanuel Arsenault and come inside, and he got picked up there by Mike McCullough. Wanted a flag there, didn't get it. McCullough shows blitz, then drops right out to help on Geroy Simon, and as Travis Lulay is waiting to get it to him, McCullough tackles him, and he's sacked.
Poor kick by McCallum, and it doesn't get a hold for the Lions, so into the wind, and no yards penalty as well, and that's just 18 for McCallum on that boot. Under 5 minutes left, third quarter. Let's check back in with Farhan Lalji.
Chris, Aaron Hunt returns to the lineup after missing the last 11 games with a torn pec muscle. Now, Hunt came into this year with some contract incentives based on his weight, so he came into camp in as good shape and weight as he's ever been. There was some concern after the injury that he'd put on some more weight. I asked him earlier today, and he said, I weigh the same, but it's just all in different areas. And he says, now that I'm not an every down player, it's killing me because of how much I've got to run on and off the field.
Oh, we resemble that remark, don't we?
It's just shifted a little bit.
Roughriders in great field position. Down by 3. Durant looks for Dressler, and he's got him. Corey Banks is there to bring him down. At the 34-yard line, 9 for Weston Dressler. Second catch of the game as Dressler returns to the Rough Rider lineup.
Well, it's a pretty easy read for Darian Durant. I'll show you why. This is Wes Cates here. Now, when he vacates the backfield, Wes Cates will go outside, and he'll take a linebacker with him. I believe it's Solomon Elamimian who will go with him. Now, Darian Durant now knows it's man-to-man. And he's got a crosser coming back the other way from Weston Dressler with his great speed. That's where he wants to get the ball.
Second and short yardage, and Keats spun off Anton McKenzie. And let's see if he's got enough for the first down. And it looks like we're going to get a measurement.
Well, Aaron Hunt, I mean, this is a BC Lions team. You heard Farhan talk about the return of Aaron Hunt and how important he's been. And this is a team that in the last 4 years has led that sack derby. And the Lions have had the likes of Cameron Wake and Ricky Foley, some rush ends that have put big total sack totals on the board. Look at that, they had to get right down. Check out that one for a first down. And Brent Johnson, of course, has been so consistent throughout his career. He has just 6 sacks this year, which, you know, is when you go back to the 04 to 09, 04 to 08, not those numbers, but he's matched what he had last year. And I mentioned a guy who has never missed a game.
Thinking about his old teammate, it was either Brent Johnson or Jason Claremont, top Canadian for a stretch of time. And now both in the veteran part of their years. Look out! Aaron Hunt intercepting the shovel. And the big guy ate that one up in a hurry and has the ball across midfield. Welcome back, Aaron Hunt.
He makes everybody around him better. And oh yeah, Aaron Hunt has the ability to make a play or two himself. He shoots through the line here in between Gene Makowski and Joe Bell, and he ends up being right there for the shovel pass. And then Rumble.
6'3" and approximately 280. Doesn't get his hands on the football much, but he's going to enjoy that. He's one of the pulse guys on that BC Lion team who creates such a good environment. There's a completion, and Simon's got a first down. And just like that, this game's momentum has turned dramatically. 17 for Geoffroy Simon.
Whenever you get the turnover offensively, it's your job then to go out and take that momentum and make it work. And that's what that throw to Geoffroy Simon will do. It'll continue the momentum for BC.
A couple of minutes ago, it looked like the Rough Riders were en route to at least the tying field goal. Now Stephen Black up, and James Patrick was in the area looking for his 10th interception of the year.
James Patrick hit this one on the run because he saw Lule lock in right away to Stephen Black coming across the field. Watch Lule's eyes and where he's looking. He takes this snap. He's locking in right now to Stephen Black, and good flow to the football by James Patrick, who leads the CFL with 9 interceptions, almost had his 10th.
So it's 2nd and 10. At the 37-yard line. Here comes pressure. Lule stands in, wide open. Arsenault, he missed it. He missed missed Emmanuel Arsenault, who was open, and Lulay would like to get that one back.
Yeah, you know, he's had about 3 series now where he'll make a play, make a good throw, and then show a little bit of his youth, a little bit of his inexperience when he has an open receiver in Emmanuel Arsenault right here. And Arsenault gets in behind that soft spot, just a little in front of the safety, James Patrick, and in behind the linebackers with a nice little double move here to go back up the seam. And it's that little spot, that little hole that Travis Lulay has to put the football, and he can't get it in there.
This will be a test for McCallum from 45 yards out. Against the wind. 9 for 11 outside the 40 on the year, and this one is going to be wide. Grace Bullet boots it. Ball on the turf. Looks like the Rough Riders got on it. What a chance for the Lions there. Karan Williams downfield. A rare McCallum miss. And we've got an injured Rough Rider as well. Is that Sean Lucas who's down? Sean Lucas remains down. And the Rough Riders fortunate they got back on the football.
You know, so many people in Saskatchewan have been so critical of Jim Daly, the special teams coach, but that's not coaching. And Brian Greismullen had an issue like that last week on the opening kickoff versus the Edmonton Eskimos. Sean Lucas gets hit there by Messam at the end of that play and is injured on it.
Looks like Barron Simpson got on the ball, but remember the opening kickoff last week?
Same thing. And you know, that's not coaching. That's just execution. And that punt return for a touchdown the BC Lions had in the first half, that's not coaching either. That's just players getting out of their lanes and not getting back in those lanes. So I know there's been a lot of criticism with regards to Jim Daly. He's handled it so well. This past week, very professional in the way he's handled the media, handled the criticism, represented himself very well. And those plays are not coaching. And yes, there may be issues in some of the schemes and have been this year, but the plays that we've seen out here on this field this afternoon are not coaching. Those are player issues and execution issues.
So they continue to work on Lucas. 1:33 remaining here in the third quarter. And in the fourth, the Lions will have the wind at their back. What a valuable guy Sean Lucas is. Well, probably as unheralded or as unsung as anybody in the league. A 5-year vet. He's led the Riders in tackles the past 2 years.
Wrist. That's right.
And slow to make his way to the sidelines now.
Yeah, it looks like his wrist. And you're right, Chris. I mean, he's one of those lunch bucket guys, right? He just rolls up his sleeves and goes to work. He doesn't do a lot of talking. He's not a trash talking guy. He doesn't want the media. He doesn't need the spotlight. He just goes out there and does his job, game in, game out.
It's the way they like him in Saskatchewan. Defense revved up by the fans here at Empire as the Rough Riders start deep inside their 15. And Durant looks downfield and he's got Van Toos. Tracked by Ryan Phillips and brought down around the forward. Progress will be almost to the 20.
This temporary stadium has not really been that friendly for the BC Lions, for the home team, with just 2 wins here. But boy, when the fans get going, when the opposing offense is on the field, the whole temporary structure starts to shake.
Metal stands can make some noise. Lions trying to extend their playoff streak to 14 consecutive years and 8 under Wally Buono. Second down, Durant to the air. He wants Getzlaf, has got him. Elimimium brings him down, but that's a big first down for the Rough Riders across the 25. First catch for Chris Getzlaf on the afternoon.
He's made a couple of key blocks on those hitch screens to carry Coke, but he gets his first catch there on a crossing route where Solomon Elimimium tried to disrupt the route. He fought through that to get a first down. He'll come right across here. Watch 57 try and knock him out. He shows blitz, then he comes out, tries to knock him off his route there. He gets around that one for the first down.
Getzlaff was 135 away from his first 1,000-yard season starting the day. Should be the final play of the third quarter. And Durant, under duress, takes off and outruns Jonathan. Well, Brown does trip him up, but he gets a first down up at the 40. On the final play of the third quarter, it's a 3-point Lion lead and a big fourth quarter upcoming. Third quarter stats are brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
A couple things jump out for me. Saskatchewan is starting to win that time of possession battle, and that will pay dividends as the game continues into the fourth. And look at the rush yards for the BC Lions. They've not even got 20 rushing yards against a team in Saskatchewan on defense that has been vulnerable to the run.
So the Roughriders have been stouter in that department. I wonder if BC really ever tried to establish it today, but we're looking at a very critical fourth quarter, to say the least.
Well, is it ever? I mean, this is must-win game. Again, to remind all the fans watching, the BC Lions lose this game, the Edmonton Eskimos are in the playoffs. That's how important it is to them. Nothing changes for Saskatchewan, win or lose. They will host the West semifinal.
Two important first downs for Darian Durant here to get out of a Saskatchewan hole, and a first down up at the 40-yard line. Tad Crawford up on the line, and there's Wes Cates, who's got over 1,000 and pulled down by Karan Williams after a pickup of close to 4.
Saskatchewan has been moving the football pretty well in that third quarter and then just turning it over. You think about the Aaron Hunt interception on the shovel pass that really stopped the drive for him, but Darian Durant has been moving the ball. They got Wes Cates going in the third.
2 interceptions on the day, tossed by Durant. Eskimo fans watching, hopefully, and cheering for the green and white here as that pass inside as Andy Fantus to midfield. Another second down conversion catch, at least 3 today.
This is Darian Durant throwing Andy Fantus open. And because he's got to lead him into the middle. Stanley Franks is on his outside shoulder. So if he throws that to the back shoulder, it's broken up by Stanley Franks. He throws him open to the inside, to the middle, and Fantus moves the chains again. He's back.
Yeah, that's a big reason this Rough Rider offense is starting to move the football consistently. Now Polk, and he dropped it. One that he should have had, and he has been dangerous today, but took a peek.
Yeah, that play, Chris, that play has been money for them. I mean, that's the play that he has scored a touchdown on in this game. It was set up pretty well again. Joel Bell out there once more as a lead blocker, and the only thing that he forgot was to bring the football with him. Again, Kerry Koch in for the injured Rob Bagg. He's a wide receiver, and he just puts us on the ground. Just a lack of concentration right there.
That's a sub-2nd and 10. 4 receivers wide side. Pressure. Banks. And Johnson get him. Back at the 42. Corey Banks flying off the edge.
It was Corey Banks. And Corey Banks having an outstanding season. Whether this team makes the playoffs or not, has got to be in the conversation as outstanding defensive player in the league. And you need your best players in the most important games to make big plays. This is a big one for Corey Banks, who leaves his feet, takes a chance, just gets enough of Durant, and Brent Johnson finishes him off.
Eddie Johnson with the punt, and Andrew Harris is going to take this one. Flag down as Harris is brought down at the 22-yard line. BC Lions with the lead in the football when we come back. Well, it is the final home game of the regular season in Vancouver, and as is the tradition with the BC Lions, they salute the veterans with a special halftime ceremony at their final home regular season game. It's always a very emotional moment. As they salute the veterans here. We'll be thinking about that a lot in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no question. And make sure you get your poppies. And as we have our troop salute every Friday, and want to, again, always thank the men and women of the Canadian Forces, our true Canadian heroes.
Short gain on that first down play for BC. Wind at their back now. Nursing a 3-point lead and a big second and long play for Travis Lulay. Here comes pressure and a flag, and the ball thrown away. And it looks like Joe McGrath was going to be called for holding.
And in the process may have hurt himself, or looked like he was grabbing his knee or his wrist.
Holding. BC number 66. That penalty's declined. Third down.
2 and out for the Saskatchewan defense.
Yeah, this BC Lion offense has started to bog down here a little bit. Geroy Simon has not been happy the last couple of times he's come off the field. Give Darian Durant more opportunities. Sooner or later, he'll cash in.
Bryce Mullen awaits. McCallum to punt. Gets that one up into the breeze and down to Bryce Mullen at the 30, and he'll be dragged down at the 34-yard line. A good play there defensively. Good job on the cover team by Sean Gore, the rookie out of Bishops.
No, bring it on or go home, and we're bringing it tonight.
So many young players in this Lion team in the biggest game they've played. Roughriders go to work. A lot of time for Durant. Now he looks the other way and he finds Getzlaff. Dante Marsh brings him down at the 45. A Rough Rider first down.
Chris Getzlaff getting involved, coming back and buying time is Darian Durant once more. Again, this is so important for the BC Lions to win this football game, to stay in the hunt. If it does, it goes down to the final week between the Lions and the Edmonton Eskimos, who I'm sure, Chris, are watching closely this one tonight.
First down, here comes Banks off the edge, picked up by Cates. Durant puts it up. Ryan Phillips has another. Told you they were tough to keep track of, but he drops it. Ball kicked up, and Andy Fantuz gets it back. A wild play. Ryan Phillips, second interception of the game, 5th of the year, but he gives it right back. And the sure-handed Andy Fantuz says thank you very much.
And 4th against Saskatchewan this year for Ryan Phillips, and I don't even think this ball was stripped out of his hands. It looked like he almost lost the handle himself. Nice interception to catch that at the high point. Now he's got room to run. Was it stripped or did he just lose it? Who was that offensive lineman that flew over there?
Not sure if that was Joel Bell or Chris Best, but it was a big play, and it was Joel Bell who had a block to spring Kerry Coke for the touchdown, and Rough Riders get it back. First down at the 41, and that pass is incomplete, out of the reach of Getzlaff. And
well, let's give, if it was Joel Bell, let's take a look to see who does strip this football, because that's a big play for Saskatchewan. We want to give him credit for it for sure. Zarka coming back, couldn't get it. Yep. There it is. 65, Joel Bell strips it out of the hands. It goes off the heel of Stanley Franks and into the hands of Andy Fantuz. And that's what happens when you hustle, no matter what happens on the play. That was a bad thing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but they kept hustling, and it turned out to be good for them.
So Fantuz was the intended target, and he ended up with the ball. Not quite the way they drew it up. Here's Reddick off the edge. Durant bubbles. Teron Williams, does he have it? Durant may have got it back. Let's see who's got the football. Suddenly, it's become a hot potato in this fourth quarter. And it's BC football. you take it. And Corey Banks comes up with it.
Anthony Reddick is going to cause problems here. He's coming off the edge at the bottom. Karan Williams is at the top of your screen. The bookends on that defensive line right now, and they're going to also bring Corey Banks. He's picked up. There's the free man. Now, Karan Williams tried to scoop it and couldn't get it. And I think it was Reddick who got it back. No, he wasn't.
Corey Banks came out of the pile with it. But they've been sending those, well, Banks and Reddick off the edge, and we will confirm that it was Corey Banks with a fumble recovery. Under 9 minutes to go, and Lule looks inside, and there's Giannis Davis with a catch. He lined up outside, and Giannis Davis down to the 14-yard line. Close to 9 for Davis.
Well, Mike McCullough, the linebacker for Saskatchewan, if he doesn't get them lined up properly, he gets Jarrell Freeman. This play scores. Look at him directing traffic in that linebacking corridor. No, Jarrell Freeman, get back over there. You got to be on that side. And he's the guy who flies over there and actually corrals Giannis Davis right there. So without that coordination by Mike McCullough, that one scores.
And Mike McCullough is in the middle of that defense now. Barron Simpson shaken up on the sidelines, and here is Robertson inside. First down, Lions. Robertson down to the 9.
Yeah, Barron Simpson has been limping around on the sideline, being attended to by Ivan Gutfriend, the trainer for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and not back in the game. Mike McCullough now in the middle of that defense. They're working on his right leg.
Barron's been credited with a pair of tackles in this game, and they'd love to have him in there right now. Lions first down, first and goal. Lule inside, Paris Jackson stacked up around the 4.
Well, Travis Lule, you know, he wants to lead Paris Jackson into the middle here, but he really doesn't put much on this, and that's pretty dangerous.
Yep.
Pretty dangerous throw in there, especially when you don't actually throw it in there hard. I mean, you're going to end up seeing this type of route on the inside for Paris Jackson, and the ball kind of floats to him. A lot of white jerseys surrounding Paris there.
So it'll be second and goal from the 4. The Roughriders make 4 changes on defense, and now a late one as Kitwana Jones sprints off. Second and goal. Travis Lule into the end zone. Block! Touchdown! Fifth touchdown in 7 games for Stephen Black.
On this one, Travis Lule had to put some air on it and feather it in there. He got pressure off the edge from Tad Cornegay, and he leads Black to the ball.
Donovan Alexander, one of those late adjustments on defense on that play. Couldn't get there in time, and Stephen Black has his 5th touchdown of the year, and Paul McCallum point after away from a 10-point BC lead with 6:25 to go. Must-win game for the BC Lions.
I love y'all.
And Stephen Black.
Everybody. Hey, we came dressed in the ready. I got my black, my orange, we ready.
He's in Halloween spirit, and he's given the Lions a 2-score lead.
And made a big, big catch. Something didn't look right in that defense, though.
No, it didn't. Ryan Grace Mullenback mentioned four players came on, 4 players went off, and then suddenly Kitwana Jones sprinted off.
Yeah, and he came off late, so I just want to count him up on that touchdown, because I believe that the Saskatchewan Roughriders had just 11 men on the field, and they're across the board there. That other one is the official standing right underneath the crossbar, and it was now meant that there's no one in the middle, because James Patrick had to go and cover down on G. Simon, and watch how Lule feathers it against the flow so that Stephen Black can run under and make a spectacular catch.
Great catch, 10-point lead. Durant back to work after the fumble. Long out, too high for Claremont. 4-play touchdown drive after Darian Durant had coughed it up.
Well, lots of time left in this football game, no question about it. Darian Durant, though, when he is on, this team wins, and that's over 60%, 7-0.
I mentioned if that was just one of those statistical oddities to Ken Miller today, and he thought no, that is a good barometer for Durant. Got to be over 60%. He has not been today. 2nd and 10. Still rolling. Anybody open? Got to throw it away. Took a hit from Elamimian, who will help him up, but wisely just threw that one away.
Great coverage across the board for the BC Lions. Darian Durant is trying to find a receiver. Go ahead and run it, guys, on this long look here and see the secondary as it develops. Durant's going to continue to roll. Now let's pick up the coverage. Hold it there. You've got nice Ryan Phillips over the top. Here comes the safety, Tad Crawford. Double team up there down at the bottom. Nice coverage there. Right across the field, blanket coverage. Stanley Franks on Weston Dressler left no options for Darian Durant.
3rd and 10. Eddie Johnson to kick it away. And the ball will bounce out of bounds around the 35-yard line. 5:17 on the clock. Lions trying to extend their season for a showdown next week in Hamilton to make the playoffs. Well, stay tuned to TSN for NFL Sunday Night Football coming up next. Steelers take on the Saints. Live coverage begins immediately following this broadcast.
And we got to make sure we remind folks the importance of the game to the BC Lions. As you mentioned, they could set up that game in Hamilton, but remember, the Edmonton Eskimos have the hammer still.
Yes, they do.
They win, they're in next week, but it does extend the battle.
But they will have to go to Mosaic and win if the Lions do here. Jamal Robertson, daylight, and a lot more. Down to the 36-yard line.
Big down block by John Hameister-Reese, the left guard, who is going to pick up the one block that Jamal Robertson needs. He's going to come down here and block down. Barron Simpson has returned to the ball game, but it doesn't look like he's moving at full speed. A little bit of help there from Angus Reid, who comes back on Barron Simpson, and Robertson is gone.
37-yard run. Lions looking to put in the dagger, but Lule has to hit the dirt.
John Hameister-Reese with a big block. Angus Reid also had one on that long run by Jamal Robertson. Let's show you Angus Reid again. He, in his Twitter this week, mentioned that it may be his last home game. He'd like to probably continue to play. It'll depend on what the plans are for the BC Lions moving forward at the position, but just a great warrior at center for 10 years out of SFU. Angus Reid in his 10th season in the CFL, all with the BC Lions.
2nd and 10. Like to at least get it a little closer for McCallum. And Paris Jackson's got it. Working against Omar Morgan. The vet wouldn't let him by. And it will be 3rd down, and McCallum will come out. Looks like this should be about a 40-yard field goal try for Paul McCallum. It will still keep it within 2 touchdowns of the Roughriders coming back. So the Lions haven't put it away yet.
Wally Buono has not missed the playoffs as the head coach of the BC Lions.
Jarius Jackson, the holder. And Paul McCallum puts it through. 3 for 4 in the game, 23-10 the lead. As they give the 3-minute warning here at umpire. Our game story is brought to you by Mr. Lube.
Darian Durant, 244 yards passing, has the 3 interceptions, one on a shovel pass to Aaron Hunt, who returns to the lineup. Giannis Davis gave the Lions a lift in that first half with an 88-yard punt return. 7 different receivers with at least 1 catch for the BC Lions from Travis Lulin.
Drives Bryce Mullen inside his 10. Here he comes. And Ryan Grace Mullen up across the 20-yard line.
The only time Wally Buono's missed the playoffs, I believe, was 2002 as a head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. You know, I thought Terry Jones of the Edmonton Sun had a great fact on Wally Buono. When he was hired in Calgary in 1990, 88 coaches have been hired and fired in the CFL since then. And no one has won more games than Wally Buono, and the playoff lives of his team hang in the balance here. He's got to win this one and then win the final week of the season in Hamilton and hope the Edmonton Eskimos lose.
He's had 241 career wins. He needs to get to 243 and get some help to make the playoffs. Kerry Coke reaches back and makes a catch and up at the 45-yard line. Roughriders have to like the contribution of Kerry Coke, who has become part of this offense with the injury to Rob Bagg.
Yeah, really contributing here early in the first half this afternoon on those hit screens, and there's still time.
Second straight week that Kerry Coke's been over 100. And that note is a misfire intended for Jason Claremont. So if this lead holds for BC, they have to go into Hamilton next Saturday afternoon and win. And if they do that, the Edmonton Eskimo game Saturday night against Saskatchewan will decide the Roughriders' opponent in the Western semifinal. And I think that West semi's going to be a lot more interesting than it might have been about a month ago when we assessed BC Edmonton, and looked like both teams were struggling then. Not anymore. Durant gets out of that pile-up. Can't find anybody again. And now underneath, Getzlaff is tossed to the turf around the 50-yard line.
I couldn't agree more, Chris. When you think about that Western semifinal now, it is in Mosaic Stadium, and it's tough to play there for any team. I get that, but you know, a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, you would have said Saskatchewan, if it was Saskatchewan or Calgary at that time with the semifinal, that they were going to be heavy favorites. Can you pick a favorite right now? I mean, other than that, the quarterback position because of the inexperience of the Lions, but I don't know. Edmonton or BC going in.
Roughriders stay on the field, 3rd and 5. Trying to convert, and they do to Claremont, the former Lion, with a big catch to keep Saskatchewan alive here. You consider Edmonton's won 3 in a row, 5 of 6. If this score holds, the Lions are 6-3 in their last 9, and 2 of the losses, overtime losses. And this Rough Rider team will be mired in a 4-game losing streak. The last time they lost more than 3 straight was 2005, a 5-game losing streak. Durant trying to hold them back here. He's got Andy Fantuz to the 25-yard line. They're not done. Corey Banks the tackle.
Well, they're in striking range now that one throw can get to the end zone. The BC Lions defensively have been giving a lot of room to these receivers, not wanting to give up the big one deep. Andy Fantuz does go right down that seam across the field on Corey Banks.
They can score in the next play or two. They may not even have to short kick. There's the heat. Durant looking for Chris Getzlaff. Got it! Touchdown! And the Rough Riders get back in it. A 25-yard touchdown strike. Durant to Getzlaff.
Chris Getzlaff's going to run what's called a wheel route. But he does it from the wide receiver position, which is unique and fools the Lions. He's going to come in here, run the wheel, and then down the sideline.
step or two behind Stanley Franks, and a great diving catch. And Getzlaf has his 5th touchdown of the year. 101 seconds on the clock. And it's a 6-point BC lead.
It's an interesting decision as to whether or not the Riders will kick this deep with 1:38. Try and get a quick 2-and-out. Stanley Franks got caught looking back in the backfield when Getzlaf turned it up and headed to the end zone.
So the final weekend drama is not necessarily guaranteed yet. Well, what would you do here? Kick away or short kick?
Well, you know, 141, you're right in that bubble. I mean, I think you could kick it away and possibly get your 2-and-out.
Wally Bono was in this similar circumstance a couple of weeks ago and kicked away, got the stop. They tied the game, eventually lost it in overtime, but
I believe both teams still have their timeout, so Ken Miller would be able to stop the clock once. They're going to put their hands team out there, the BC Lions, anticipating a short kick. In fact, they don't even have a returner.
Well, that's a little unorthodox, isn't it?
It is, because you can recover a kickoff.
It's Vantouz to kick it, up for grabs, and Roughriders knocked it out. They're going to talk about it. It looked like Saskatchewan batted it out. Was the ball already on the white paint?
Well, Geroy Simon was last to touch it, I believe, as it was rolling until it got to that crucial point on the white paint. Now, was it out before it was touched by a rider?
And no matter what decision's made here, Jake Ireland probably going to have the last call. And Wally Bono has a challenge flag out, but he doesn't need it in the final 3 minutes. And it's Lion football. And now it's Saskatchewan that will be hoping for the review.
Yeah, and the league has to review this.
The replay official has requested that we review the play.
Of course they will. Of course they're going to. It hits Geroy Simon there. He's the last to touch it now, unless that touch was not on the white stripe.
And it's hard to tell from that angle if that ball's on the white or in the air above the white paint. And if it hasn't touched down, it looks like Saskatchewan might have a case. Hold on, folks, because this might be Rough Rider football.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's enough
Simon
evidence there, but is there there? It might be there.
Now, is the ball on the turf just before Patrick touches it? If you can back it up just another split second. Ball still in. Ball still looks like it's on green and then knocked away. Another look. In the air.
You know, it's close. This is going to be a tough call, but I think Patrick might have got this. I really think James Patrick got this. I mean, this is going to be a close call. I mean, it's...
For Jake Ireland, the problem is, does he know if the tip of the football's on the white paint or not?
Exactly, exactly. And this one is probably the best look, but it's furthest away as well. So the ruling is BC Lion football, so he has to have enough evidence to overturn that ruling.
Don Cousins right on the scene, the head linesman.
This is going to be a tough one. Well, you know, one of those many that we've had this year that have been so close that had it been ruled Saskatchewan ball would have been just as tough and probably, well, I don't want to speculate, but it's going to be a very, very tough call to make here.
If it is Rough Rider football, what a finish. This is where HD might not be enough. We might need 3D.
Well, they're taking their time, and you know they're rolling that back. Every angle that we showed you, they see at the control center. Wally Buono's season possibly in the balance here on a call. Now the Riders do have to drive half the field and put a major on the board. Here we go.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It's BC's ball.
You know, it was very, very close. I thought one angle, it looked like Patrick got his hand underneath the ball, but again, was there enough evidence to overturn the call? I'm not sure. That was a very, very close one, a very tough one. Here's the reaction of the head coach, Ken Miller.
You know, he's been told by upstairs that in the opinion of the Saskatchewan coaches, that ball was still in play when Patrick touched it. And I must admit, I'm surprised. I thought they might overturn that. Robertson straight ahead. And the Lions will try and kill the clock and are in a position where Paul McCallum can put this game away if called upon.
It's a long field goal attempt, though. A returnable attempt. If he
that'd be
misses,
a decision too, wouldn't it?
Exactly. What could take that decision away from Wally Buono is a first down here for the BC Lions.
Wind is at his back, although flags are now limp. It has died down quite a bit since halftime. Second down, Lulay, trouble, and that might discourage a field goal. Keith Shulligan with a sack, and the Roughriders are going to get the ball back here.
Well, they're Paul McCallum is bringing out his field goal tee here.
Timeout. Saskatchewan.
Roughriders stop the clock.
And really the only thing, Chris, if that was, obviously that's the strategy for Wally Buono, that he was going to kick the field goal and attempt it, not punt it deep if they didn't get the first. And the only thing that Travis Lulay couldn't do was take a sack there.
So McCallum comes out and he'll be looking for the corner. Only one game this year Paul McCallum's missed more than one field goal. It was a 6-for-8 game against Calgary.
He's going to punt,
but he won't get a chance to miss his second here. And
I think this is the right decision.
I do too. Wouldn't take a chance, and this could be the perfect punt. Down inside the 10, great cover. And it's a long field for the Roughriders, but they're still alive. Rolling Lumbala, G. Snaraki down in a hurry. And we are just inside 1 minute to go. Darian Durant has 101 yards to go to end a 3-game losing streak and to help the Edmonton Eskimos nail down a playoff spot.
You know, and I'd like to say too quickly, good for Ken Miller. He's played his starters. He wants to get his team going. And I think he's accomplished that, win or lose here.
And for the integrity of the playoff race.
Absolutely.
Durant gonna air it out. Jump ball, Highland. And incomplete as Highland and Getzlaff went up together.
Well, this David Highland is going to be a guy that I think they can really build around. He's in there for Davis Sanchez, injured on that wide side corner. Started the season for the Lions as their safety, or excuse me, when he did get here as their safety in 3 games. Tad Crawford was bumped out of that position. He, of course, started the season, but he's a keeper.
Starting to shake the temporary facility. On his goal line, under pressure, and dropped back at the line of scrimmage, Aaron Hunt. And he makes this Lion defense a little more ferocious.
Yeah, second big play for Aaron Hunt, and the other being an interception. Not very often you get to say, unless you're maybe covering Anwar Stewart in Montreal, that a defensive lineman gets an interception, but Aaron Hunt had one in this game.
Comes down to this for the Roughriders. They need 10 to keep it alive. Durant flushed again, takes off. Can he get there? Down at about the 19. He's going to be very close, and it looks like he's got it. And he does. Glenn Johnson gives him a fresh set of downs with just under a half minute to go.
Yeah, but the clock now is the issue. Darian Durant needs a big chunk on one of these plays in the next two. And the secondary for the BC Lions now probably 30 yards off the ball. Corey Banks also looking to pick up Fantooth.
Getting a taste of the playoffs here. They swing it out to Cates. And Wes Cates gets to the sidelines and stops the clock, but not much there. Just 6, and a baker's dozen left on the clock.
BC Lions stayed in hotels to try and get a little team unity before this one because their home record not stellar this year. They had team meetings where the captains ran the meetings, the coaches weren't part of it. They get Aaron Hunt back 13 seconds away from keeping their playoff hopes alive.
Durant to the sidelines, and that's incomplete, intended for Coke, and a little surprised at that call, aren't you?
I'm surprised that in the last two plays that they haven't tried to get it down the field and even try and draw a pass interference call. They're in that kind of situation now, 13 seconds left. On the previous play, they had to, as I mentioned, try and get a big chunk somehow.
Well, they need a Milt Stegall play now. And Doug Barry was dancing up the sidelines that day in Edmonton. One last shot. 3rd down. And it's stripped. Ball loose. Brent Johnson with a record-breaking sack for the BC Lions.
Well, it really is fitting. Brent Johnson, great 10-year career, never missed a game, never even missed a practice. Will get his 7th sack of his season, the record breaker as a BC Lion. What a great career. And it ends this one and basically keeps the playoff hopes alive for the BC Lions.
83rd career sack. James Quick Parker, 82.5 in the days when they gave out the half sack. And the Lions live to play another day.
And we go down to the final week to determine the final playoff spot.
Eskimos won yesterday. The Lions answer with a big win today. They'll head to Hamilton. And the Edmonton Eskimos will go to Saskatchewan to decide it next week.
And the Saskatchewan Roughriders don't get the win they're looking for, but they do take tremendous strides, especially offensively, getting back on track.
It was a better night for Darian Durant, but it is 4 consecutive losses for the Roughriders. Their record falls to 9-8. Travis Lulay celebrates a win, the 7th of the year for the Lions. Again, the final, 23-17. So long from Vancouver. Football Night in America is next.